It's the economy, stupid. That's the advice someone in Canberra should be giving Anthony Albanese, who seems to be intent on saving the planet and delivering peace to the Middle East, while our economy lurches on under a burden of record debt, endless deficits and a productivity slump that was called out by the Reserve Bank Governor yesterday, a productivity stasis that threatens to undercut our prosperity for years to come.
The Prime Minister needs to focus at home. Can I make this clear today? He really does. He's distracted by wars overseas, and while we care very deeply about suffering, there are Australians at home who are really struggling right now, struggling with the basics, and they need a Prime Minister whose first duty should be to them.
Look, I've warned for weeks about this economic summit that Albanese and his Treasurer Jim Chalmers are hosting next week. It's incredibly revealing. A Green left government that broke its promise on electricity prices 4 times over, broke its promise on interest rates and the cost of living, and broke its promise not to fiddle with tax cuts. Well, it got re-elected promising to do very little. But then straight away it called for a so-called productivity roundtable to come up with some ideas for how to reinvigorate the economy. The trouble is that the best way to rev up our economy would be to reduce union controls and government regulations and green energy programs. And these are all things that Labor is addicted to. So they changed the name of the summit to an economic roundtable, and straight away we started to hear new ideas for something else Labor's addicted to: new and higher taxes. There are proposals to broaden the GST, increase the GST, new taxes for big business, bring back the carbon tax, a new road user taxes, and even taxing the family home. But the Treasurer assures us we can all relax.
No doubt people will bring all kinds of ideas on tax to the Economic Reform Roundtable. We've tried not to artificially narrow or limit the contributions that people make. We will listen respectfully. But our focus and our priority on tax is cutting taxes for 14 million Australians.
Yeah, there'll be lots of talk about tax, but we're told nothing will happen. We will see. Unions will be heavily represented at the Economic Reform Roundtable. That's Labor's way. The ALP likes to pretend its union masters are agents of economic reform rather than opponents. But cop this. Even though this thing started out as a productivity summit, recognising we need to produce more from our efforts, we need to be a more cost-efficient economy if we're ever to improve our standard of living again, well, to this table, the unions have brought a proposal for a 4-day working week. That is 1 less working day, but for the same pay.
And from companies' perspective, they're more productive in the time that they're there. So this is not something that's a cost. This is actually something that's about more fairly sharing in the benefits of productivity, making sure it just doesn't go to big business profits, but that workers see a fair share too.
That's some way to boost productivity, isn't it? Do less work for the same money. It's actually the opposite of increasing productivity. It's a way to cripple productivity.
We think that they want to have their cake and eat it too. I mean, clearly, you've got to have the productivity first. We want to see the ACTU coming to the table next week with substantive ideas, with positive suggestions.
The ACTU and the union movement is running this show. This government is run by the union movement. I went to the Jobs and Skills Summit 3 years ago and I saw them beat the table saying they expected payback to get them elected. Well, they've just given them a thumping majority, and I think they expect, they're high up in the stirrups and they expect even more payback. But tell me how a small business here in Orange can pay the same wage for someone doing 4 days' work.
And once again, the government that's created this policy vacuum and asked for these ideas, well, it's busy hosing them down.
I wouldn't mind a 6-day and 23-hour work week myself, rather than 24/7. Look, people will come up with a whole range of ideas, and that's not a bad thing. I think a lot of people would like to have a 5-day working week. And so, look, these ideas will come up. I'm not going to give a running commentary on all of them, but certainly the government has no plans.
Our interest here is in making sure that people can balance their work and family responsibilities. That's what motivates our position on work from home and in some of these other contentious areas in recent times. We haven't been working up a policy for a 4-day week.
So apparently Albo is overworked and we've all got nothing to worry about. A government without a reform agenda is appealing for ideas for an economic reform, and it's having to disown the ideas for tax increases and more expensive work conditions that's coming its way. This is going to be fun to watch next week, isn't it? I just hope they don't make things even worse than they already are.